Abdul-Hussain is a research fellow at the Foundation for the Defence of Democracies. Thank you very much for being with us, Hussain. And I want to allude to a piece you've written about how the Arab world should embrace the West because Islamism simply isn't working for them. How do you explain the hold that this idea still has on people, especially young people?
Well, this is unfortunate. I think you know the maxim that if you're young and you're not leftist, you're heartless. If you're older and you're still leftist, you're brainless. And I think this is what we're facing. I mean, I'm fine with university students being as active as they are. My issue is with all these professors and pundits and the older folks who are really instigating this identity politics. And this identity politics in the West is coinciding with Islamism. And this is hurting not only the people in the West, this is hurting Islam in itself. I think that there should be a battle to regain Islam from the hands of militias and thugs and politics, and just restore Islam back as a religion, as a faith, as a spiritual activity. And that was the inspiration for my piece.
Well, would you say, I mean, Israel right now is fighting not two but three Islamist groups, the Houthis, Hezbollah and Hamas. I mean, has Israel been left alone to defeat Islamism? And has the West, to a certain extent, given up? It is weary in its fight against ISIS a decade ago.
I think the West understands that it cannot take its eyes off the ball, and that's why we still have U.S. troops in Iraq and Syria. And from time to time, you'd get some delusional Islamists who would kill someone in France or Denmark or anywhere else, or even in New Zealand. So we understand that Islamism is not over and that there's still a long way to go. I think I'm happy the support, to see all the support that Israel got. And like you just said, the fact that all these Islamist countries or militias got involved in this war proves that this is not about Palestinian standards of living or giving Palestinians good lives. This is about a messianic, erroneous idea of religious war between Islam and other non-Muslim nations or religions.
Would you say that the Palestinian cause is one of the biggest victims of Islamist ideology?
It has always been the biggest victims. Before the Islamist ideology, it was the victim of the pan-Arab nationalism. And I think now Iran is using the Palestinian issue. Hezbollah is using it. The Houthis too are using it. And mind you, the Houthis are right out anti-Semitic with their slogan, their famous slogans, "Death to America" and "Death to the Jews," not even to Israel, just, saying it outright. So I think all these characters are just distorting the vision for a better life for both Israelis and Palestinians.
Well, the Obama Doctrine was to contain Iran and to split the Middle East between Iran and Saudi Arabia. Do you think the events of October the 7th have been a wake-up call for the Biden administration? Do you think that they now see that it is Iran pulling the strings of Hezbollah, Hamas and the Houthis, and that this is a theocracy that cannot be contained?
I think to an extent it has been a wake-up call. Now we understand that the Obama hypothesis of the grand bargain with Iran, of considering the Iranian Islamist regime as being smart and as calculating cause and effect, by now we know that it's neither smart, it doesn't calculate, it's messianic, and it's crazy. It shouldn't get nuclear, it shouldn't get anything else. So thankfully, I think the Biden administration has come to this realization. Unfortunately, I don't see that the U.S. is showing a strong hand. I think all these attacks that the U.S. bases have been under in Iraq and Syria, the reaction has not been one that would dissuade the Iran regime from going after U.S. troops or other targets for U.S. allies in the region.
And we've just been having a discussion here about what a post-Hamas Gaza might look like. How do you see that panning out? Do you see a role for the moderate Gulf states, for Egypt, for the United States? What are your thoughts?
Well, absolutely. All those countries that you mentioned, first and foremost, the Gulf, of course, with their huge, enormous financial capabilities, they can show a lot of support and also diplomatic support. On the Palestinian side, I can think of at least a dozen of qualified Palestinians. For example, the former prime minister of the Palestinian Authority, Salam Fayyad. There are dozens like him who work for the World Bank and the IMF, Palestinians who work on Wall Street. So the Palestinians are not really all people who look like Khalid Mash'al and Ismail Haniyeh, crazy messianic militia people. There are a lot of qualified Palestinians, and I think with the right support from the Gulf, from the US, from Europe, from moderate Arab countries at peace with Israel, I think it can work out. I think Gaza can be rebuilt. A good experiment of governance, building governance capacity can happen in Gaza. And once the experiment succeeds, then this thing might expand to other Palestinian territories.
Okay, thanks very much, Hussain. Great to talk to you as always. Hussain Abdul-Hussain there at the FDD.